Okay, I'm Steve from Hot Hot Heat. I guess I'm just gonna go through our record with you. It's called Happiness Ltd. And the first song on the album is actually called Happiness Ltd. As well. And this song took a long time to finish. Some songs on the album, they just kind of come out right away, and other songs, they take a long time to be finished. And this song I actually hated at first. Didn't want it on the album. We were working with Stuart Sykes and Butch Walker at the time, and we recorded the song, and it was okay. And then one day we just had a big argument about whether or not the song was working. Because it had this really cool, really cheesy chorus actually, which we all hated, but for some reason we felt obliged to put in. So for the first time since I've ever been in a band, the engineer, Stuart Sykes, he just said, "Alright, what about this?" And just, even though normally an engineer, they're not supposed to manipulate stuff, they just kind of do their thing. And he just took the chorus out, which at first didn't make any sense because it's basically 5 long verses, a bridge, and then one giant chorus at about minute 5. But I actually love it now, and it went from me hating it probably more than any song on the whole record to me wanting it to be the first song on the album. The second song on the album is Let Me In. And that song is kind of, I guess, the entry point into the second version of the record. Because originally we actually wanted to do the record in 2 weeks. We wanted it to sound kind of rushed like our first record. So we went to the same studio where we did our first record. The first record we did in 6 days. This one we wanted to have done in 2 weeks. So we finished it. I went to New York and mixed it with Rich Costi, and then we mastered it and sent it off to the label. But that version didn't have 3 songs that are on the final version now, and Let Me In was the first song that kind of made me call the record label and say, don't send out any more copies, because I think there might be another song that should go on it. At the time I was living in my apartment. There was just musical instruments everywhere, but it was still an apartment. It was just kind of a little hole in the wall, and I had some drums, and Paul came over and I said, why don't you try writing a drum beat that follows the vocal melody, because normally we would always write the drum beat around the bass line. So we actually wrote the drum beat around the vocals, and I think that's kind of, it's kind of a nerdy thing to pay attention to, but it's my favorite thing about that song is that the drums are very dynamic, and yeah. The third song, 5 Times Out of 100, that was actually one of the first songs. I think it was the first song that we wrote as a band when I started singing. Originally I just used to play keyboards in the band, and then one day I started singing, and this is the first song that we wrote. And it was actually with our old guitar player, Dante DiCaro. So for this one, we actually recorded it with Dante, and we did it with Eric Valentine, because we were big fans of his production on Songs for the Deaf, I guess 3 albums ago, the Queens of the Stone Age album. And we just wanted it to sound dry and aggressive and weird, and it felt kind of weird throwing an old song on a new record, but the old song never really came out most places. It was just out on an EP, and it was everyone at shows that was in the know always asked about it, and so we said we should put it on the album. And yeah. Harmonicas and Tambourines is the 4th song, and every song on the record we usually try and make it different than the last song, and usually that starts with the way we approach it. So for this song, I just asked Paul to come over to my place, and I had this idea of writing a song that was 160 BPM, because I think we were listening to Take On Me by Aha randomly, and I thought that beat is so fast, I'm surprised they make it work. So the goal was to make it work, and we recorded 3 different electronic drum kits playing the exact same beat. Yeah, that was the other goal, was to have 4 drum kits on one song. And we did it. And we did the 4th drum kit in LA with Tim Palmer. We did The Cure and David Bowie. And it was just kind of a giant sound experiment. And we just really wanted to do a pop song that was extremely layered. So I doubled the bass with synths, and there's theremins, and there's giant choral oohs and ahs, but at the end of the day it just sounds like a fun little dance song. The 5th song on the record is called Outta Heart, and it's probably the least hot heat song. Originally I had this little guitar that was about this big, and I would bring it with me everywhere on tour. Sometimes the instruments you write on are conducive to the kind of song that it creates, and for some reason I was only writing these slow kind of ballads on that guitar. And when we were done all our demos, I knew the guys didn't like this song because they said it was too slow and it wasn't heavy enough, and so I just secretly recorded a demo of it just from about 5 minutes in my apartment and sent it with all the other demos to the label, and that ended up being their favorite song, of course. So they insisted that we record it, and Butch Walker, who we were working with at the time, figured he had a little trick to get the guys excited about the song, so he asked Dustin, who normally plays bass, to play acoustic guitar, and Luke, who normally plays guitar, to play bass, and all of a sudden they were excited about it. And the thing with that song, I guess, I mean, I hate saying that album's a breakup album, but a lot of the writing came at a time when I was just in a weird place, and I just had gone through a big heartbreak, and I guess I just wasn't really interested in making rock music anymore, I thought. And the guys were telling me they didn't know who I was anymore, and there was, I don't know, it was a weird point for the band. I thought it wasn't going to last much longer. And this song kind of came out of that period. But in the end, I kind of, I guess, pulled myself together and realized I actually needed the band more than ever when I came out of it, which leads to the next song, My Best Fiend. My Best Fiend is, I guess, one of the heavier songs on the album. At this point, I really felt tight with the guys again. I think we all felt tight as like just a gang of friends. I mean, we're the kind of band that gets off, a 3-month tour, and then we get home and we drop our bags off and we go out again that night together. So, and this song, for some reason, it gives me that gang feeling a lot. And there's like all sorts of vocals going on, and live there's 5 voices coming at you at once. And it started as a joke, often in rehearsal, as just constant joke riffs. And Luke just played this silly riff, and Paul just wrote a silly drum beat, and Dustin started playing a stupid bass line, and before you know it, it's probably one of my favorite songs on the album, I think. No need to hesitate. Conversation, it's kind of a sleazy song, I guess. It's just kind of about, that don't talk anymore, just it's not working. Just And the song, I guess we wanted it to sound more like a hip-hop song than a Hot at Heat song. Well, just at night, I guess sometimes with some people you have a great chemistry with them, and but sometimes when they open their mouth, sometimes when I open my mouth, I just talk them out of that chemistry. I don't know. I think chemistry with someone is a very delicate thing. And so I guess that's what the song is about. You know, let's enjoy the night, but not overthink it, and definitely not over discuss it. This song, I don't know if the guys would be upset for me to admit it, but at one point in the writing process, we realized we had spent so much time trying to run from ourselves, and I guess I just remember reading a bunch of reviews of bands, and it said, oh, this sounds like Hot at Heat, and this band sounds like Hot at Heat, and I guess it forced us to ask ourselves what we thought we sounded like, and so it's a question that all bands hate to answer. So we thought as an experiment that we would try and write a Hot at Heat song, almost like, I don't know, like we were ripping ourselves off. And it kind of worked. I really like it. It's some songs on the album, they take a lot, you need to invest in a little bit, and you need to listen to and take off some of the layers before you can understand it. Whereas this song is just, it's entertaining, it's fun, and it's dancey. All the things we were running from on our last record. Well, this is a song that actually Luke wrote, and it's the first song that I've ever sang that in Hot at Heat that wasn't written by me lyrically. So it was kind of weird, but he just had this little acoustic song, and we all really liked it, and he hated it and insisted that we didn't use it. But we just kind of screwed around with it, and we added Paul wrote this bridge, and then we added an orchestra at Abbey Road, and it just became this kind of Phil Spector sounding T-Rex, Bowie kind of Beatles, Zeppelin hybrid. I don't know. And Luke didn't want to use it, but we all loved it a lot, and I like that I tried to sing it like I was Luke, so it doesn't really sound like me. I think it's a nice little song that makes me happy when I hear it. So Cold. The song we wanted this song to be different than any other song on the album, and I think it does that. We kind of wanted to go for like this big U2 wash, and we wanted it to be the kind of song that you could play at a stadium or something. A lot of our songs, they feel like club songs, and we wanted this to almost be like a Springsteen, U2 kind of vibe, but still Hot at Heat. And so we called Rob Cavallo to produce this one because he does that kind of stuff really well. And I don't know, it's a nice little adventure. It starts in one place, and there's all sorts of different parts, and they all somehow work together, and they overlap, and it's a dark song, and it's a bit sad, but it also is uplifting at the same time. And lyrically, I just wanted to use words that felt uplifting, and I had the words all our lives in my head. I like the thought of singing something that felt like it brought people in, as opposed to just singing at them. And I always liked that Oasis did that. All their songs felt like you and me against the world, and I've never been able to do that. But this song, I felt kind of like it touched on that a little bit. The song is called Waiting for Nothing, the last song. And musically, it was just written at 7 a.m. on the bus, just completely out of my head. And but lyrically it was, I guess it was about, I was in a relationship for a number of years, and it was the same person that I was singing about on Elevator, and I guess it was about, I always felt like I was waiting for us to really connect in that unspoken way, subconsciously, in a way that would make me go, okay, this is definitely right. And I think everyone feels that way to a certain extent. If in the back of their head they know it's not right and they don't want to admit it, there's this feeling that you're waiting for something and you're just sort of kind of buying your time, and it always felt like that. I was waiting for something to kick in that would make me go, okay, yes, this is right. And then 3 years later, it ended horribly, and it all kind of came crashing down, and it felt like I had waited for nothing. But in the end, I realized that I didn't mind that I was waiting for nothing, and I didn't mind that it didn't work out. I actually feel like I'm still a better person for it, and I guess that's what a lot of the record is about, is going from being extremely pessimistic and cynical, but then also being able to pull yourself out of it and find happiness, even if it is just for a brief moment here or there, you know. Alright, so that's the run through of our album. I'm sure if you asked anyone else in the band their opinions and their ideas about the songs, they would tell you something completely different, so I hope I didn't step on any toes. I hope you liked it. If not, that's fine too. See you later.